It's absolutely amazing. There are a lot more photographers than I thought there were going to be, and actually I've gone blind because it's flash, flash, flash. It's just extraordinary. I got 2. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Kate Winslet is an English actress. She's also a producer of TV and film. She's many things. She's a mum, but she's just a real incredible force in the industry.
It's extraordinary. It's an amazing feeling to have set out on a path of wanting to become an actress from when I was about 5 years old, and to have been so fortunate and blessed in my career.
I think to me, at least, Kate Winslet really represents like that upper apex tier of British actors. And she is this like perfect English rose, and she's confident and funny.
And that's the great thing about acting. It's such a privilege to be in a position to work with such wonderful people, to continue to learn on the job. There really is no rule book.
Do you ever lose the thrill of this?
Never. Never lose the thrill. Get the chills, though. Just hope that the work speaks for itself, I think, and keep your fingers crossed, really.
Working with your husband, always fun or can be tricky?
Always fun.
Okay. Oscars, I really want one, or do you know what, I'm just not bothered.
Do you know what? I'm not even going to answer the question. Which makes me really annoying, doesn't it? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And finally, Reading or LA?
Reading.
Reading. Always Reading.
Every time.
She grew up in Reading, and she was born to a whole clan of actors.
She was the second of 4 children, and she was born into this family that struggled to make ends meet.
Her dad was working as an actor throughout his entire life, but also on her mother's side, her grandmother, I think, went to school with Noel Coward even. Like, there's this whole pedigree and this whole history and this whole, I think, environment and culture that was really embedded in her throughout her childhood.
For me, I mean, there's a really interesting thing that happens when you're an English actor, and people often assume that you come from great sort of pedigree and wealth and etc. My father was an actor. Actually, my father is a disabled actor, and not many people know that, and I don't particularly talk about it very often, but so he had a very serious accident when I was 11 years old that left him disabled, and he was a father of 4 children, of which I was one. So his acting career changed completely because suddenly he couldn't get work because of his disability. And we were helped in similar ways by an organisation like SAG-AFTRA back in the UK. And if it weren't for that organisation, my parents would not have had the resources to literally get us school uniforms and bus fares. I mean, it was that difficult for us. So to have something like this is incredibly important.
She got her first commercial role when she was 7, starring in an advert. But after that, she auditioned for lead parts, loads and loads of them, and never got them, never got the lead roles. She was also bullied in school because of her weight.
And she had a pretty tough time at school. Her classmates bullied her relentlessly. They'd lock her in cupboards and scream about her blubbies blubbering in the cupboard, just really awful stuff. And the thing that always got her through those periods was this feeling and this belief of, one day I'm going to be an actor, just focus on that. And then she did. She became an actor.
Kate Winslet auditioned so much earlier on in her career. She never got the parts. She was told that she was too big to be a lead. She spent all her money on traveling up and down for these auditions, but never got parts. Until the mid-90s, she got a stage role, and then in 1991, she landed a BBC series called Dark Season, and then she got Heavenly Creatures in 1994, which was her first film role. And then that led her on to Sense and Sensibility in 1995, where she starred with the likes of Emma Thompson and Hugh Grant in this period drama. And I think that's what really got her a lot of Hollywood attention.
The more I know of the world, the more I am convinced that I shall never see a man whom I can truly love.
To find romance.
Marianne, you must change. You will catch a cold.
What care I for colds when there is such a man?
You will care very much when your nose swells up.
You are right. Help me, Eleanor.
I'm really honoured to be here today to be able to announce all the nominees. I remember when I was nominated for Sense and Sensibility, and it was so exciting.
The shrieks might have had something to do with the demise of Take That, but no. At 20, Kate Winslet had other things on her mind. She's been nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Sense and Sensibility.
This is in the car with my friend Mel, who's doing my makeup today, and Hilda, my agent in Los Angeles, phoned me, and she just went, "Congratulations!" And I went, "Ah!" Just started screaming, and then I just went, "I've got to phone my mum," and so I phoned my mum, and she already knew because a friend of ours in California had phoned her and told her, and it's very, very exciting.
I can honestly say that I am at my absolute happiest working on tight collaborations with tiny budgets and small crews and never enough shooting time.
When she was only 22 years old, Kate Winslet got the part as Rose in Titanic, playing opposite Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, James Cameron's film about the sinking of the Titanic was the first film to pass the $1 billion mark. Kate and Leo were the perfect on-screen couple, and that was actually replicated many years later in Revolutionary Road. But this thrust her into the spotlight. It was filmed in these huge water tanks. Cast and crew put their lives at risk to obtain these incredible scenes. You know, the film was almost 3 hours long. It was centered around pretty much over the course of a few days in this one event, but brought to life all these incredible human stories, and is still such an iconic film till today.
Open your eyes.
I'm flying! Jack!
You never know what hand you're going to get dealt next.
You know, a lot of people have been asking me that over the last few days, and I wish I had like the miracle answer, but I think it's the combination of an extraordinary true story with this wonderful love story, which is so pure and sincere and genuine. And, you know, we're entertained these days by, you know, very strange things, you know, a lot of violence or kind of laughing at other people's misfortunes by way of, you know, real life soap operas and so on, you know, and something like Titanic, which is as genuine as it is in terms of that love story, you know, I think it will always capture people's hearts. It's kind of a timeless classic, really.
Rose and Jack met when Rose actually was contemplating jumping off the bow of the ship because she was so unhappy. Jack saved her life, and then they formed a relationship. They got together. She tries to ditch the rich guy. Then the ship sinks. All goes very pear-shaped. At the end, they're on this plank of wood that I maintain till today Jack could have fit on, but never mind.
So when Kate Winslet was filming this very famous door scene where Rose is floating and Jack is not, the water tanks, they tried to their best to heat them, but you know, this was a massive production, so the water was still very cold, and she, because she was so committed to the character and to the moment, was offered a wetsuit and turned it down, and did get hypothermia at the end of it, so that's real commitment to the character. The thing with Titanic is that, you know, it was such an almost kind of classical vision of the sweeping historical epic at an enormous, unimaginable scale with these gorgeous costumes, this extremity of emotion, this horrific true life tragedy. I mean, it was all of these ingredients together to make something that at the time you know, was unmatched in box office, in Academy Award nominations, and I think as well just in passionate love for that movie. Every single 90s up-and-coming actress auditioned for Titanic, was in the running for Titanic, all your Claire Daneses and your Nicole Kidmans. But Kate Winslet, she really wanted this role. I mean, I don't know how much truth there is to these stories, but supposedly she sent a rose to James Cameron saying, "From your rose." She phoned him a couple of times and said, "Look, I'm your rose, I'm the person to pick." And I guess the thing with her playing that part is that, you know, she wasn't this overly stereotypical idea of the Hollywood actress. James Cameron originally had envisioned a sort of Audrey Hepburn type, which obviously you have a very specific image in your mind. And Kate Winslet comes across and she is this like perfect English rose, and she's confident and funny and kind of, she really brings out that rebellious side of the character. And I think, really looking back on it, she was perfect for it. She really, it would have been sad if they had picked anybody else.
Kate to me is such, I've seen her performances in the past and I knew her work, and she sort of knew mine, and we immediately appreciated working with each other. It was incredible, and we got along just like that, and I think it worked for the movie for sure.
Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio had incredible chemistry on screen during Titanic. I mean, they say they were never a couple, but I think probably they were. Kate Winslet talked about his acting ability, saying it was incredible, and they actually remained really good friends afterwards. Leo DiCaprio walked Kate Winslet down the aisle at one of her weddings. That's how close they are. That's how close they remained after Titanic.
I love that there have been rumors for decades now of like, oh my God, why haven't Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio like gotten married? Like they must be soulmates. Because in reality, and both of them have talked about this, you know, there was absolutely nothing between them. It's been platonic forever, but it speaks to, you know, what great actors both of them are.
I don't think Titanic would have been Titanic without Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio in those starring roles. They absolutely made Jack and Rose. They epitomized them, they became them, and I couldn't think of anybody else who could have done those jobs.
Because everybody always asks me, what was the hardest thing to do? The hardest thing to do wasn't, you know, sink the ship or break it in half, or, you know, all the things that when you see the movie look difficult. The hardest thing to do was to balance the most intimate, quietest, softest character moments with this big spectacle and have it all seem to be one thing and one story. And look, I don't know how well I've succeeded, but I think it works pretty well. I think we care a lot about Kate and Leo's characters, and it's because of the little moments, not because of the big moments.
Both in their performances and in the idea of celebrity, that is all telling a story on both sides of the camera. And the fact they've been so masterful at creating this bond that to us in the public we read as something, you know, so profound, and that still to this day, you know, they only ever worked with each other one more time, but we still see them as a pair in our heads. Like, that's really special. Even Leonardo DiCaprio gave Kate Winslet a ring. She has 2 rings that she wears, her wedding ring, obviously, and then this second ring from Leo that has an engraving in the center that she won't tell anybody what it says, but it says something special, I presume.
Well, it changed everything. I mean, you know, I had been in a few films prior to that, but at the same time, nothing like this. You know, there have been so few films as big as Titanic, and I think what it did for me was it really opened doors to opportunity that perhaps wouldn't have been there otherwise. And you know, it gave me a lot of creative freedom, and I got to learn much more as an actress as well, just because of those opportunities being presented to me. Because I think that was the one thing that was quite disorienting at the time, was suddenly I was very, very famous, and I actually didn't really know how I was supposed supposed to cope with that or what I was supposed to do. And I also knew that I needed to learn more. I just actually needed to kind of develop more skills as an actor. And so to have the opportunity to do that was really, really wonderful.
Well, I think she's not only a wonderful movie star, she's glamorous and gorgeous and all of those wonderful things to look at, but she's such a wonderful actress. She's really got the acting chops. She came from the theater. She's very professional. Every role that she does has something unique about it.
At the same time, you know, when you work with talented people like that, it makes your job that much easier. And Kate is one of my longest friends and the best actress in the business, in my opinion. So.
Kate Winslet, I have a special place in my heart for her, of course, because, you know, she played my daughter in Titanic, and I just feel that she continues to go outside of herself and push the boundaries of her comfort zone, and I'm always surprised to see what she's going to choose next.
Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio teamed up again for Revolutionary Road, which was the story of this middle American couple that are living this kind of repressed life. And she plays this housewife who is very highly strung, who is very on edge the whole time. And she said it was a very difficult part for her to play, to step into that character, and her and Leo do have some pretty steamy and racy scenes in that film as well.
This is the life we wanted. I support you, don't I? I work 10 hours a day at a job I can't stand. You don't have to. But I have the backbone not to run away from my responsibilities. Who made these rules anyway? Just because you got me safely in this little trap, you think you can bully me into...
She's playing like quite a few of these. I mean, it comes under a very general archetype of, you know, the married suburban woman who's like very frustrated and imprisoned within this very like strict, you know, nuclear family world, this cube of existence. And I've always kind of wondered what attracted her to that kind of film. But I think when you watch Revolutionary Road, you sort of see it, because even though this is a movie that's just about a marriage and about a failing marriage, about two very idealistic people who get married and make a lot of promises and then break those promises, there is this almost like feral quality to what she's doing. Like, she's sort of like psychologically like scratching at the wallpaper, wanting to get out of this house, wanting to get out of its marriage. And I love watching it. Like, these two Titan actors screaming at each other in a suburban kitchen is just fantastic and brilliant.
But what was brilliant about this film, there's lots of things, but it was great to see Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet back on screen, back together, but completely different from Titanic, completely different from fresh-faced Jack and Rose.
I cannot tell you how excited I was. I mean, I would just, in the build-up before we started rehearsals, we had 3 weeks of rehearsals, just every morning I would wake up so excited going, you know, it was almost like a kid with an advent calendar, you know, opening the doors until, you know, Christmas Day was going to really arrive. And Leo would be there, popping out of that door going, hi, eat me. He was just fantastic. I mean, I love talking about Leo. It makes me so happy, it really does. It was amazing to be with Leo again on screen and just on set. Just to be around him for 4 months was just so lovely. You know, he's my best friend, really. I mean, we really have hung on to this relationship, and also it's, you know, I think it's really rare that you know, to work with somebody when you're that young. You know, we were 21 and 22 when we did Titanic. I'm 33 now, and he's just turned 34, and the fact that we even got along in the first place, you know, we always got on very, very well, and to have Leo, you know, by my side,
and your husband
was amazing,
as well.
and my husband, I know, you know, there were just no boundaries. It was the most wonderful relationship for all of us, and whatever we had to do in order to, you know, do our jobs as best we could, and to try and sort of convey this honesty and truthfulness that was so important and so central to the story. and to be able to try absolutely anything with each other on screen and know that there were no boundaries, you know. It would be okay to make mistakes, you know, was amazing. And to be supported by my husband, Sam, who directed the film, was just such a joy. I mean, it really was. I mean, I have to be honest, it was a dream I didn't dare to dream, in a way. And it was really amazing.
Kate is such a talented actress, and like I said before, we've been aggressively trying to find something to do together, and this was it. I mean, this was the thing that I think really captured two people that are at a certain point in their lives where they want to make drastic change, and whether they have seized the opportunity or not. And in this film, my character is the one that doesn't have the courage to, so.
Thank you.
But there was a lot of trust involved in the whole situation, too, which is important, you know? And I was thankful that, you know, Kate's husband was the director, too. It felt like a kind of a family atmosphere. It's the way movies should be made.
This is a great passion for me, acting. I absolutely love it, and I love my job. And in order for me to be able to do it with a full, open heart and a clear mind, I really can't read about what other people are saying about me.
It's sort of crazy to think about how much her life changed overnight with Titanic, because, you know, and she's talked about that she was still so young and so untested, and this was an entirely new world for her. She was 100% not prepared for fame and for what came next, for, you know, making sandwiches in a delicatessen one day, and the next day she is being followed back home. There are photographers taking photos of her from the bushes. The press is commenting non-stop about her body, everything that she wears, about simply the fact that she's not a size 0.
It garnered her loads and loads of abuse, basically. People talking about her weight. She wasn't even, you know, big in any way, shape or form. She was just a normal looking girl. And it attracted comments like Joan Rivers saying, you know, if Kate Winslet wasn't so heavy, the Titanic wouldn't have sunk.
You know, it's this huge issue of public importance, and it's constantly talked about, and it's talked about to her, and the press seem to have no reservations in asking her to her face about her weight, which, you know, I think today, even with the situation as it is for stars now, still kind of feels unimaginable.
You know, she really struggled to deal with all that negative attention at 22 years old. And she said that had a real negative impact on her, on how she regarded herself and how and her confidence. It massively knocked her confidence. Kate Winslet is such an advocate for real women that she forbids her pictures to be photoshopped in magazines or on magazine covers because she wants to appear as herself, which I think is great. You know, I think it's great that she's advocating for being herself and that she's not allowing magazine covers to touch her up to perfection, because she knows herself that no woman is perfect. So why try and inflict that on women and make us feel less than? I think it's great that she's very comfortable in her skin, and great that she's happy to be photographed as she is.
I think that was a big reason why after Titanic she didn't pursue a lot of massive Hollywood roles. She went and worked with Jane Campion in Australia and did this, you know, quite small drama with Harvey Keitel, where for her, she got to kind of train herself a bit more as an actor and find a bit more confidence in herself and be a little bit more creatively free. And that felt like the better step for her than to try and jump off the success of Titanic, like Leonardo DiCaprio did.
About Titanic, do you have fond memories of being in it all those years ago?
I do. I mean, it is a long time ago, and yet it sort of also feels very much like yesterday, you know. I mean, people keep saying, oh, how does it feel to be revisiting it? The truth is, it's never left me. I mean, every time I do an interview, someone asks me about it. You know, all those things. Please don't ask me that.
Come on then, how did it change your life?
It really changed my life. Of course it changed my life, you know, dramatically, and probably forever, you know.
Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey teamed up for Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. And I think both of them really contributed to the film's success. You know, you had these two iconic actors, Jim Carrey toning it down and being really melancholic, slightly depressive, and then Kate Winslet just bringing her natural intensity to the screen. They made a great pair.
Hi.
Sorry?
I just said hi. What Howard gives to the world to let people begin again. It's beautiful.
Completely. She's there with this guy. And she looks at me like she doesn't...
I'm absolutely thrilled that it's getting a lot of recognition. It was such an amazing experience making the movie and playing this part. You know, when you really put your heart and soul into something, it's such a glorious time when you can sit back and allow the movie to be out there and let people, you know, see it and say hopefully nice things about it. And it's really nice to be able to talk about it again.
My favourite films that Kate Winslet have done, Titanic is definitely one. Absolutely. Because it is just epic, because it was her breakout role, because it's just such a brilliant film. But I also love The Holiday.
I don't know. I don't quite know what we're going to be doing for Christmas yet. It's still a little bit up in the air, but yes, it'd be really nice to have a break. I always love Christmas, always, you know. I've already been wrapping presents and things, so.
I absolutely love The Holiday. I think that's a brilliant film. The kind of set-up of Jack Black, Jude Law, Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz, I mean, they just make a brilliant quartet. And I absolutely love that film.
I feel very proud of this film, I genuinely do. I mean, it's a romantic comedy that is designed to make you laugh and cry in all the right places, and it absolutely does all of those things. And, you know, we all had a wonderful time making the film, so we just hope that people enjoy it.
We're on our way to New Jerusalem.
I'm here. I'm here.
As one door closes,
That'll be interesting.
another one opens.
Oh.
Hi.
Hello. I'm Miles.
I'm Graham. Iris' brother.
Do you want some company?
Yeah, love some.
Excuse me? Okay, sorry about that. Boob Grace. That was accidental.
Well, I play Iris, and she's a good old-fashioned English girl. She's very, very sweet. She's a really sort of warm-hearted person who just wants to be loved, and she suffers terrible heartbreak at the beginning of this film, and as a result of that does something very spontaneous and goes online and does a house swap over the internet right before Christmas with Amanda, played by Cameron Diaz, and she sort of finds herself again and finds love again, and when she's least expecting it. It was just so much fun, I have to say, you know, and I learnt a lot from Jack too. I mean, he's obviously a comic genius, and so much of that is about timing, and so I felt very privileged to be working with him.
You've been Oscar nominated so many times. Is it going to be your turn this time?
Oh, absolutely no idea. I've no idea. But, you know, if I'm completely honest about it, it would mean the world to be up there and involved. But yeah, wouldn't that be great? Just hope that the work speaks for itself, I think, and keep your fingers crossed, really.
So I remember Kate Winslet being in this episode of Extras, the Ricky Gervais show, where she was playing a version of herself who was so desperate to win an Oscar that her agent suggests that she be in a film about the Holocaust, which turned out to be pretty ironic because the movie that she did win her Oscar for was The Reader, which was a movie about the Holocaust.
We were very careful, and it took us a long time, and we tried to calibrate how we felt about the character of Hannah and how we were dealing with this very difficult subject matter, and try to make a film which is as ambiguous and as complex as the subject matter.
It does shed more light on how, you know, this generation in Germany now is still very much trying to come to terms with the horrific crimes committed by the previous generation. And this film, although it's not a Holocaust movie, you know, I very much feel it's a love story. I always felt it was a love story between a young man and a woman who is twice his age, who he didn't know but was an SS guard. I'm really, really proud to be in it because it is
As you say, it is very powerful, and you do feel morally compromised after watching it, I think. It was an enormous challenge. I mean, she's a very, very complicated woman, socially extremely isolated. She finds it hard to express her emotions. She finds it hard to really allow herself to be in love for a variety of different reasons, and then cut to 8 years later, and the relationship has dissolved a long time since, and they meet again in a courtroom, and she is a defendant on trial for war crimes. And she was an SS guard who had served briefly in Auschwitz. Very, very difficult to play those things. Very difficult indeed.
So just tell me how this little girl from Reading feels tonight, you know.
Like a little girl from Reading. Like a little girl from Reading. Did you see my mum and dad? My mum won a pickled onion competition in their local pub just before Christmas, and, you know, that was a big deal. And the Reading Evening Post sent me a picture of her holding up her jar. Well, Reading Evening Post, there's your next Winslet picture. It's unbelievable. I mean, you just don't think that these dreams that seem so silly and so impossible could ever really come true. And you know, having been here before and lost, to be here and win, I've got to tell you, winning is really a lot better than losing. Really a lot better.
Kate Winslet won her first Oscar for The Reader, which was about an illiterate concentration camp guard. She was so shocked by her win that she almost threw up. She couldn't speak. It obviously meant a huge amount to her.
I have always been a fan of Kate Winslet's work. She's a fantastic actress with extraordinary emotional facility and a fierce intelligence and a great collaborator, as I discovered on this film. So she was always the first choice and the perfect choice.
These films are very important to me, and you know, it's a lot of pressure too when people start talking about the buzz and all this Oscar stuff, and huge pressure. You know, who knows what's going to happen? You know, I've just got to get the films out there first and hope that people respond to them in a positive way. You know, and you know, whenever I play a character, it means a great deal to me, and I don't do it very often. I do one thing a year and then sort of have a year off, even longer sometimes, and so. Even to talk about them is kind of almost weird because there's a very specific personal experiences. So yeah, it does mean a lot. Absolutely does.
And you know, it was it's just extraordinary. I got 2. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, you know, Kate and I have been a great support mechanism for each other for so long. We've been such great friends ever since we were so young, and we've grown up in this industry together and been through a lot. So it's amazing to see her win 2 awards in one night, which is pretty historical. But it's so long overdue. She is the greatest actress of her generation, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see that she's finally given that credit. You know.
That was the year that she also did Revolutionary Road with her husband at the time, Sam Mendes, as the director, and also Leonardo DiCaprio. And it's a far better film and a far better performance. But the Oscars being what they are, even though she put all her weight behind that, they still nominated for and gave the award to her for The Reader.
I got lucky, you know. It's there's a lot to be said for being in a position like the one I've been in the last 18 months, where I got to play April Wheeler in Revolutionary Road and Hannah Schmitz in The Reader, you know, these 2 incredible literary heroines, really. And, you know, it's remarkable. I'm 33 years old and being given these amazing opportunities.
I think there's a secret in having some kind of belief in yourself, you know, and, you know, I feel like a very unlikely hero here right now. You know, I was not the privileged kid who things like this could possibly happen to. And, you know, it really is a dream coming true. I mean, it really is.
She's picked up Emmys, Golden Globe Awards, Screen Actors Guild Awards, BAFTAs, you name it, Kate Winslet has won it.
I believe that so many great young aspiring actors first stepped off the bus with the hope of embarking on a film career from this very spot that we all stand in today. So I feel very honoured, 20 years into my own career, to be standing in such a poignant place and being celebrated in such a spectacular fashion. Thank you very much for my star, and thank you very much for having me.
What will last is your wonderful, beautiful films, the characters that you've played that have stolen our hearts.
It's been such an honor to see somebody who has navigated this industry in such a beautiful, professional way.
You bring a special intelligence, a fearlessness, a certain wit to the screen. Your authenticity and the characters that you play allow all of us to live lives, the lives of those you portray on screen. We are not watching you act, we are experiencing the life of your character through you. And so today, we celebrate your accomplishments and acknowledge all that will be in the years to come. Kate Winslet, a hearty congratulations from the city of Los Angeles. You're welcome.
To feel as though, you know, there's lots of forward motion. I'm still being challenged. I'm still afraid of it. I'm still, you know, looking for new ways to do it and new things to try out. You know, that's a really great feeling after 23 years.
It's so healthy to scare yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm always absolutely terrified by it, you know, and that's great. Yeah, I like that feeling.
We are living in sort of this strange but wonderful golden age for, like, famous actresses being able to really excel and become the best version of themselves on TV, because there's such fantastic writing going on in that space. So, you know, for people like Nicole Kidman, for Reese Witherspoon, Laura Dern, like all these women who Hollywood in past decades have had like a somewhat limited choice of what they could do, now can play like the most messed up, like complicated, psychologically dark women imaginable. And I think Mayor of Easttown is sort of a dream come true for Kate Winslet, because like that character is so burdened and stripped down, and sort of we see her in such a vulnerable state that we get to see her as an actress, like at that most primal level of honesty, because that's that thing that she's so great at, is just being 100% honest, 100% being vulnerable, and that is entirely what Mayor of Easttown is about.
The Easttown Police Department received a call reporting a dead body in Freedom Creek.
We've decided to bring in a county detective to assist with the case.
How do you like working with my mom so far?
We're just getting started out. Any tips?
Lower your expectations?
Should we do this outside?
No.
All right, let's go.
I really do love Kate Winslet on the small screen as well. I think she really translates. I absolutely loved Mayor of Easttown. Desperately waiting for another season of that.
I can honestly say that I am at my absolute happiest working on tight collaborations with tiny budgets and small crews and never enough shooting time, which of course is familiar to absolutely everyone in this room. But these things are so specific to independent film, which has been my best friend for 23 years and continues to enrich my life beyond measure.
I think Kate Winslet chooses to do more independent films because she wants to push the boundaries, because she wants to push herself, because she can play pretty much any part, whether that's a repressed housewife or someone who wants to escape for the holidays, or, you know, a rich girl who is on the Titanic. But also I think she just wants to embody all these different parts and be all these different people and stretch her acting ability. I Am Ruth as well. Incredible drama that she starred in with her daughter actually as well, which I found out was completely unscripted. So they would go in and know that the scene is about this today, and everything that came out of their mouths just came out of their mouths in that moment. And a really important documentary as well about the damaging effects of social media on young people, on how they feel about themselves. And I think that's something that Kate could really relate to, because if Titanic came out now, the comments about Kate Winslet's weight that were made back in 1996 would be online, and there would be memes, and it would be more horrible than it was back then. And that's what young girls are having to deal with. Not just young girls, young people, everyone actually has to deal with all these horrible comments. So I think that was a really, really important piece that she made.
You are not judged, you are not criticised.
Well, I am, though, am I not?
I'm sorry that I'm not perfect. Please stop. You are driving me to do this.
I really think it would be
She's spoken about what a sort of like moving and personal opportunity it's been to not only act alongside her daughter in this almost fully improvised piece, but to tackle a subject that, you know, she said sort of impacts the both of them and is so in her mind as a mother and also like as a woman existing in this time. Being an actress of her generation and being conscious of the new generation of actors coming in, having on top of everything that she had to deal with, this new world of social media where you are so exposed as a human being and you have such a limit on privacy and on your personal life, and you kind of have to cut yourself up and just serve yourself up to the public. You can tell that like it really worries her, and she's worried for all these younger actors. So I think this drama was almost a way for her just to confront that issue head on.
As she's gotten into her 40s, she feels that she's stepped into her power more, and she's advocating more and more for real women to be reflected on screen. You know, in Mayor of Easttown, she didn't wear any makeup. She was very, very casual on set. You know, just this hardworking mum who is in the police department doing this incredibly hard job. And it shows the versatility of Kate Winslet, whether she's, you know, in the ocean clinging onto a plank, or whether she's playing a mum who's worried about her own daughter and the use of social media. She's just such a natural talent through and through.
It's extraordinary. It's an amazing feeling to have set out on a path of wanting to become an actress from when I was about 5 years old, and to have been so fortunate and blessed in my career, but particularly in the last 10 years, to have found myself in a position where I can use my voice to do things for other people, and that somehow in turn becomes inspiring to others. And it's a remarkable feeling, actually, and it's a responsibility as well. I mean, I do very much take it on as something that, you know, has to be continued and is talked about, so that other people will feel compelled to help other people.
The thing with Kate Winslet, looking at her performances, especially in the films like Revolutionary Road or Iris, or a lot of these dramas that she did in the 2000s, is that a lot of the work she was doing was in films that I guess you would classify as Oscar bait. I mean, the one that she won for, The Reader, is like classical Oscar bait. And yet, the kind of performances that she's giving are almost too honest to read as like overtly Oscar performances. There is such a sense of like presence, of being in the moment, a total lack of vanity, a total lack of like consciousness of how she's coming across as like a star or as an actor or screen glamour. And I don't mean that in any derogatory sense. Like, she's extraordinarily beautiful, and yet she lives inside of those characters fully, completely, and without any hesitation.
And that's the great thing about acting. It's such a privilege to be in a position to work with such wonderful people. And not only that, but to continue to learn on the job. There really is no rule book.
I think to me, at least, Kate Winslet really represents like that like upper apex tier of British actors and like the characterization of what a British actor is in Hollywood, which is a sort of approach that is so unfussy and yet so committed and so honest. And I think there's Kate Winslet and then there's like Emma Thompson and Olivia Colman, and together it's like this incredible, fascinating trio of acting power with none of the ego attached to it.
I think people will remember Kate Winslet as someone who stood up for women. They will also remember her for iconic roles such as Rose in Titanic. You know, the first film to pass $1 billion, and Kate Winslet was in it at the age of just 22. I think she will be remembered for those things.
The thing with Kate Winslet is that I feel like there's still another chapter that I'm waiting for. Like she's doing so much great work at the moment, not only with the Mayor of Easttown, but it's been interesting to see her return to James Cameron and do these new Avatar films and learn how to hold her breath for 7 minutes. Like, it still feels like she's so keen to challenge herself and to keep developing and to keep pushing the boundaries as an actor, that I sort of feel like her legacy is unwritten at the moment. But we'll see. I mean, she'll always be remembered for all of these really fierce performances. But I feel like there's something else maybe around the corner that we haven't yet seen.
I'm very, very happy that I've been able to walk away from that experience with some amazing, amazing memories.